I would agree with just what he said. You know, he's in so much better place as a person and therefore as an athlete. I honestly never thought I'd see that again. And it's amazing to really have the pleasure to go to practice and deal with someone who wants to be there, who's in a prime fit, you know, has a very high fitness level and has the mind to go along with it. It's been just a real surprise, but a very pleasant one.
In the Under Armour commercial, it shows kind of all your working out and all the therapy that goes on.
Go ahead.
I was surprised that you do cupping and the ice therapy. How much of your day is training, and then how much of recovery time does that take?
I mean, I've been doing ice tubs. I mean, I think, it's probably been 8 to 10 years. I mean, I still remember the first time I did an ice tub. I think I lasted about 3 seconds.
I made Brian Campbell, big guy, hold it in
Yeah,
there.
I lasted for about, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, it was about 5 seconds. I think I lasted, and I got out and was like, I'm not doing this. And then after that, I just started, I just started doing it because I know it's what I needed. And you can see I have a couple cups on my shoulders from, it's 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, it's just something that I have to do, you know, for me being at my age. I have to pay attention to that stuff. So, I mean, I spent a whole lot more time really consciously thinking about what I need to do to prepare myself day in and day out of training. I mean, I don't want to miss any opportunities to be able to move forward and to be able to have the chance to potentially do something special. So, you know, I think between Keenan and myself and all me, Bob, and Keenan, we're all pretty much on the same page, just trying to make sure that we're as recovered as we can be every step of the way.
Real fast, how often are you doing that, and what's it like to get, because in the video it looks pretty painful.
No, it's not that painful. I mean, Graston's a lot more painful than that. No, I don't think I have any. I got my elbow Graston the other day. That's like, imagine just like crowbars digging into your skin. So that's more painful than cupping is. I mean, I probably get worked on 2 or 3 times a week. And that's probably the low end, but that's usually, it's at least that.
How did growing up competing in this sport affect other aspects of your life, specifically your work at school?
I mean, for me, like, I guess for school, it was like, you know, my mom's been in education for almost 40 years, so school always came first for me. That was something that had to happen, or I wasn't going to be able to really swim. So I was always making sure all my schoolwork was done before anything else was attempted. So I think, you know, with having my mother and having Bob, I think I was kind of forced into manage my time. Like, it forced into managing my time better. You know, like I learned how to, you know, set aside time for schoolwork and going outside and playing with my friends, or going to work out. Like, I was forced to do that, and because I was such a goal-oriented kid, really from step one in the sport. So I wanted to be able to make sure I could do everything that I wanted to.
Being at Arizona State now, how does that change to you, both as a person and your training, just being in kind of maybe a more relaxed collegiate atmosphere?
I'm tan, which is always better. We like being able to see the sun. We like being able to see a blue sky, you know, pretty much 99% of the time. It's just much more relaxing for us down here, and I think our environment around the pool is more laid back. We're all pretty fired up every day we come into the pool. I mean, from time to time you'll have 1 or 2 people that are kind of grouchy or pissy, but it's kind of all the other guys will help them kind of get out of it. And I think that's why we work so well as a team. You know, like, there are some days where I come in, or Allison will come in, and we're tired or grouchy, or, you know, I don't know, the list goes on, but we're kind of really good at helping each other get out of whatever we're in to make sure that we get everything we can out of workout. And I think that's something that I don't think it would happen as much at home as it does here.
What were those initial conversations with Bob like for you to come out here? You know, was that an easy decision? Was that difficult for you?
I think he asked me this time last year. He said,
About a year ago.
if I go to Arizona State, would you come? And I think he knew that I wasn't going to swim for anybody else. You know, it's kind of what I said to him. You know, as long as many times as I threatened to leave and said I didn't want to swim with him anymore, I think deep down he knew that I was only going to swim for him for the rest of my career. And he asked me, and I was like, well, all right. But I think at that point in the back of my head, I was like, oh, awesome! I just redid my house. I have all new furniture. Yep, okay, sure. Let's get up and move.
I think
No
I
problem.
said, you might read in the New York Times tomorrow that was my worst media performance ever. Thanks, Jeff and Karen. Appreciate that.
Michael, two questions. Number one, how far back do you have to go to get to where you were at this level physically and psychologically? Like how the shape you're in both those areas now, how far back?
08, 07, 08. Yeah.
What is that like for you? I'm sure you obviously at one point didn't even think you would be swimming right now, and
Sure.
to be at that level again.
It's kind of crazy. Like today, I actually felt like warm up. Actually, felt like a warm up. Like it felt like I was able to get into a stroke, and it felt like I was kind of had some idea of what I was doing here. But it's been a long time since I felt that way, and we do these 6-100s before, I guess like right after we travel to a meet, and they weren't like that. I haven't felt like that in a really long time. So, I think it feels good to kind of really just see that hard work does pay off, and I think that's something that I've really loved about this sport all along, and did I ever think I would be back to that level? No, but I think after last summer, after that little surprise, after the first race at nationals, I mean that was a little bit of a surprise for me. I think after that I was kind of just like, okay, this is for real again, and I think that's something that I'd missed, and it had been so long since I felt that way. So it's pretty exciting, and definitely gave me a lot of confidence and excitement coming into this season.
And this was my second question originally. How likely do you think it is by the time your child is college age that a swimmer would be able to accept endorsement money and participate on a college team? There's so much reform on the table right now.
I have no idea.
And Bob, you can take a stab at that.
I'll let Bob take a stab at this one.
I personally would find it hard to believe that things are going to remain status quo on that. So there's going to be some movement on it. How far they go, I don't know. But I would say the likelihood would be much greater than it is today. That there's going to be some kind of recognition of the athletes in terms of that.
Michael, I got two things I'm curious. First of all, what's it like to have a home meet?
We haven't had I guess it's been since Ann Arbor. Well, was I even living there when we still had the Grand Prix?
Yeah, that lasted a bit.
I guess that's the last time that I've had a home Grand Prix. Usually it's like the June or July meet that it's like, all the local teams come down to Baltimore and we swim together there. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's nice being able to stay in my own bed and kind of being able to relax, and we already kind of know what the environment is here. I mean, last year was, the last two times we came here, it was a comeback meet. And we were coming out of the nice warm winter in Baltimore to come to this heat. So, I think that was it's good to just be able to have something in our backyard to, it's easier for Nicole now to travel since she is not flying anymore. So it's good to have her come down the road and watch. This will be the last meet until trials she'll be able to see.
The other thing I was curious about is, I know you've been, a lot's been made of you not missing practice and being engaged. I'm curious if you've had a point in the last year or so where you've woken up and not wanted to go, and sort of how you fought your way through that.
I mean, there are days where sometimes either Schmitty or myself will be like, I don't want to go. And we'll both kind of have a sarcastic comment towards one another that, we'll end up getting into the car, and by the time we're in the car and a song comes on, or, Schmitty and I play Punch Buggy, or Slug Bug, so if she drills me, then it's kind of on, so there are always little tiny games like that we play that keeps it so light, so I could never thank her enough for just being herself and being able to help me get through some things that I've needed help to get through, and it's been awesome to watch her grow. So I think her and I have been able to work really, really, really well together, especially over the last 3 or 4 years.
Michael, you mentioned Nicole and the pregnancy. What have you learned about yourself going through this this process of almost becoming a father, and preparing for that and that next step of life?
Everyone always tells me, don't fight every battle. And I was like, no, come on. I can always win every battle. And I think now that we're getting closer and closer, I kind of pick and choose. I kind of just let her win a couple here and there. And we've been able to work really well together. And I think we understand each other even more now than we ever did before. This is a new experience for the both of us. And it's just, I think it's becoming more and more realistic the closer we get. She is starting to show more and more every day. It's kind of funny. It's like we can almost like tell where his butt is and where his feet are, and kind of like where he's sitting in her stomach. So, I guess it's coming down to almost about a month away. So it'll be here before we know it. And I think one of the coolest things is just watching how close we've gotten, just because of, I remember the first ultrasound we went to, and it literally looked like this little tiny thing in there, and now it's like we've gone and we can see every single bone in his body, and all the details of everything is, it's been pretty amazing to watch, and pretty incredible to watch the growth of him so far. We're looking forward to it, and the nursery's finally set up and the furniture is in, so this is pretty much, I think, as ready as I think we'll ever be for the welcoming of our first child.
Michael, you're going to be a volunteer coach at ASU next year. I'm just kind of curious as to your motivations behind that and why you wanted to get into coaching.
This is always, swimming is going to be a part of my life forever, and I kind of thought, why not? Like Bob and I can, I kind of asked him if I was able to just come in and help and be able to give the guys and girls some pointers here and there, and he said the only way you can do it is a volunteer assistant. So I decided that Nicole and I are going to be here, and it'll be easy for me to just pop down to the pool in the morning or afternoon and just help out from time to time. And I think it'll really be the first time where Bob and I are on the pool deck together, kind of coaching, which will kind of be interesting. I'll just be kind of letting him do all of it, and I'll just sit there and watch.
Okay.
But I think it's a different dynamic, just because obviously I'm normally in the pool, and I think him and I could see things differently, and we'd be able to maybe explain things differently, and just have a pretty interesting, I think, interaction with the other student athletes that are there, and really just be able to help them grow, and hopefully I can help Bob build a national championship level team.
Michael and Bob, a question for both of you. What are your expectations for this meet and then also for Rio?
For this meet, it's like it is for every other meet, just seeing where we are. I have 2 free, 2 fly, and 2 IM while I'm here, and tomorrow it'll just be interesting just to try to actually swim a 200 well. We have yet to do that this year, so hopefully tomorrow will be a new opportunity for us to try and do that. And I mean, I feel a lot more confident in the 200 after some of the things that Bob and I have been working on over the last couple of weeks. And my stroke feels better, my kick feels better. So now it's just really time to get in the race and just see what's in there and move forward. And you know, for me, whatever I get out of this meet, I know that I'm going into 6 weeks at altitude, where historically I've been pretty decent up there, training-wise. So you know, it's kind of like our final preparation for Olympic trials, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to Rio right now because none of us are on the team. We all have to qualify the same exact way, and you know, the end of June, beginning of July, we'll be stepping up on the block together and fighting for a chance to represent our country in Rio.
I would agree with that. We're just trying to check in on some of these events that we don't get to do all the time. I mean, like, I'm trying to spread the events out so he doesn't swim the same program every meet. So 200 free we haven't done in a while. You done one this year?
Yeah, I swam it last time. I swam it 2 meets ago.
Yeah, 2 meets ago. And then 200 fly we left out of the last meet. So just kind of checking in on the 200s and give the 100 fly a break and 100 free. So I think it'll be good. And then, just like he said, we have some things we'd like to accomplish in the next several months, but one step at a time. So we'll focus on tomorrow and see how it goes.
Hi, this one's for Bob. Can you just, I know you've talked before about how when you went to ASU, you thought it was going to kind of be a courtesy call.
Yeah.
And that quickly changed. Can you just go over that again a little bit?
Sure.
And maybe how surprised you were the fact that all this happened a year ago?
I am pretty surprised. I'd had a call from Dave Cohen, who was an associate athletic director, about the position, and we had just talked about some things, and he knew I'd be at Mesa the week after, and he said, would you come down and meet Ray Anderson? And I said, sure. Just because I was here between sessions, and honestly, because I had heard some about Ray's vision and that he was trying to upgrade the college program, I thought it would be a good thing for swimming, and maybe I could help them find a coach, or if I could help in that process. So when I went down there, in between sessions to meet, sat down, and quite frankly, Ray Anderson just completely changed my view of what I was thinking. And we have so many things in common. The goals that he has for ASU were really kind of resonated with my personal goals, that I wanted to get back to more of teaching, that this is a wonderful environment and a place where something special could happen, but it needed the right, quite frankly, coaching staff and support, and he was willing to give the support. And I remember we had a very long conversation, and we talked about maybe having a call later, but I walked out of that office, and when the door shut, I remember thinking, I'm going to be these people's swim coach. It was a very dramatic change from coming out to going in. Yeah. His vision for what's going on here is unprecedented, I think, in the history of NCAA sports, and I think you're going to see a lot of special things come out of ASU, and that's not a recruiting pitch, that's the absolute truth.
I have one for Michael too. Because everybody talks about you and your medals and maybe being the greatest Olympian, what Olympians really resonate with you? The Jesse Owens movie came out this year. I mean, and I think you somewhat know the history of all Olympians. Yeah. Well, which ones kind of really resonate with you?
I mean, for me as a kid growing up, my first Olympics I remember ever watching was the 1992 Olympics, and that was because we had I had a teammate of mine who was competing in those Olympics, and for me, I've always known my history in the sport of swimming. So it was the Pablos and the Matt Biondi, and it was Anita Nall who was my teammate. I got to watch the Dream Team back then. In '92, those guys were insane. those guys were so